Hello, everybody. Good evening, and welcome to today's VCN World Championships Ladies Race. So, thanks for joining us. We're about 90 seconds from the start of today's event, and we have got a field of around about 10 ladies at the moment, so a couple of seconds left before a couple others could join us. We had a good turnout last week for the National Championships on the Leuven course. This week we're over to the Dirty Reaver course, where we will be taking one lap, which is 17.7 kilometers, 225 meters of elevation. You can see the profile there along the bottom of the screen. We start with that terrible 10% gradient straight out the start gate, so hopefully our ladies are warmed up this evening. And then we're onto that long straight road section before turning off into the woods, onto the gravel sections. We're only a little bit longer than last week's course, where our ladies completed that in under 25 minutes. But this week we expect it to be slightly longer just because of the gravel effect. It does slow the riders down. There's a little bit more climbing as well, so we're probably going to be looking at around about 34 minutes, I'd have thought, for these ladies. So 20 seconds now before we get going. We'll give you a run through of all of our entrants once we get going on the road. But we are here on the Dirty Reaver course. It's a fantastic looking course. We've got the woodland, we've got the off-road gravel sections, we go past the lake. It really is a fantastic venue for this VCN Ladies World Championship. All right, and we're away. And we're following Kate Kretzinger here, who's storming off the front, setting that early pace. He knows this course well. A regular of the Team Lou Saturday and Sunday rides. The Sunday ride taking place on the Kilda course, although that takes place on the Magic Road around the lake. This is the Dirty Reaver Real Road, and Kate here setting the pace. Straight off, working hard. Just behind her is Eileen Davidson, also from Team Lou Racing. And we've got Teleri Reese and Anthea Oliver from the New Zealand Bro team, and Alina Barre from Wahoo Nicole. But it's Kate here, setting the early run in, already putting out a 30-meter lead. You can see here on the top right-hand corner, 7.9% gradients, 8%. So back to this quartet of chasers. Eileen here on the front, with Teleri just on her wheel, and Anthea just slightly back with Alina, but only 11 meters for these, separating these four riders. And now the New Zealand ladies come past Davison there as they come up to the top. It flattens out, they get the power, keep that power on, and they're going to be hunting down Kate, who's gone out hard, gone out early. We've got an 80-meter gap over this quartet. And these four have opened up a gap back here to the Australian Pitchford. And then behind her, Martinez Adorno, the American rider. And then we've got Ritska and Villarreal here. So a good spread of nations: Spanish, Puerto Rican, Australian, American, Scottish, German, New Zealand. So here, up at the front of the race then, it's the American Kate Kretzinger. Power's just dropped off. You can see the top left-hand corner, that power history. Showing the last 2.5 minutes or so. Let's just come down a little bit as we hit this flat section. These riders behind still working hard. You can see that they've got red numbers, their power output on the left hand side there. The red numbers are on. They're trying to close that gap. But by going out hard, Kate has managed to just give herself a chance to ease up a little bit earlier. And there's only less than 50 meters separating these five riders. less than 10% of the way into this race. So we're up that first roller. This is a course that suits the puncher as well. We've got 3 challenging little bumps in the first half of the course. The majority of the climbing is in this first half. There's then some downhill sections in the second half. But there's still some punchy little climbs as well. That second half isn't as easy as you think it might be. So we'll run through the results from last week's championship for the national titles. And we'll run through that in just a second. So last weekend on the Luban course, 1 lap. It was Brittany Litton from New Zealand who took the win, 18 seconds ahead of Alina Barre, who was 0.1 seconds ahead of Anthea Oliver. Then Amro Toole in 4th and Kate Kretzinger in 5th, with Carly Francis from New Zealand in 6th. 2nd to 6th separated by under 1 second, so it really was close. So anticipating this front group will be close together as they get into the meaty part of this course. We see now Kate is caught. These 5 riders are all together into a little group. But along here there is an opportunity for a little bit of drafting. Still on the tarmac road. So an opportunity for some riders to ride smart, ride tactically. Just take a little bit of drafts, a little bit of slipstreaming. If you are watching live, then please do drop us a message in the live chat. We will get them up on the screen, hopefully, or at least read them out. So once we're over that original little bump, this second couple of kilometres, it's fairly flat. You can see how the pace has dropped off. We're now below 3 watts per kilo for these riders. It's a long course, this. Feels a lot longer because the speed does drop off on those gravel sections. So you don't want to go too hard too soon. The 17.6 kilometre loop, but it feels more like 25 kilometres because that speed really does drop off. We take this little right hand in a minute. We're going to loop to the right after we've gone across this bridge. And that's when we start to hit the early gravel. A little bit of a downhill section initially, so it will keep their speed up. Just hitting 30 miles an hour there. Just under 48 kilometers per hour. And now, as we head into the woods, we'll see some of that pace lifting again, I imagine. As the gradient starts to ratchet up. This second climb is a bit longer. See in the top right hand corner there, the slope currently 1.8, 1.9%. It's more stretched out, this section. There is a steep section in the middle, but this is a slightly longer hill. You can see there the numbers going red. Barre on the front, taking it to the other ladies there. There's Davidson. Puts in a little effort to come round to second. So this is interesting. We've got Barre from Wahoo Nicole, Davidson and Kate, teammates. Team Lou ladies, they ride for the VCN TT Team Lou ladies team. And then we've got Oliver and Reese from New Zealand. Also teammates just behind, so it'll be interesting to see if we get any team tactics going on. Reese, Oliver, Kate, Barre. Actually, Tulare Reese was 2 minutes down in the Leuven race, so we'll see how she competes today. But Barre, Oliver and Ulette Kretzinger were within seconds of each other. Davidson didn't ride that race, so we don't quite have her numbers to compare with. So on the steepest section of this second climb then, so only 10 metres between them all at this stage. As we're approaching around about a quarter of a way into this race, let's just drop back to this second group where we have Pitchford, Martinez Adorno. They're just about to hit the gravel section. And then just behind them, Ritzka, the Spanish rider Villarreal here. I did see a good representation of nations. So back to the front. And it's Barre here, opening up a little bit of a gap. "30 metres ahead of Reese, Kate and Oliver. And it's Davidson currently just getting a little bit distance as well. 35 metres off the back of that trio in the middle. And a slight downhill section. Then quickly turns into an uphill section. .2, 1.3, it's not much, but it's uphill, and on this gravel it does slow you down. I really do find on this course it's a bit like riding through treacle at times. So Barre at 4, just over 4, well, just approaching 5 there for a second, watts per kilo. See our power in the top left, fairly steady. Dropped off a little bit, that was on that downhill section. Now lifting back up a little bit. Reese, Kate and Oliver there. Just holding it steady, around about 4 watts per kilo, 30 metre gap. There's 3 of them there together. They'll be spurring each other on, using each other for a little bit of drafting, a little bit of motivation. Now just holding that gap, around about 30 metres, 35. See here, Alina, around about 250 watts that she's outputting. Reese here slightly lower, just at 230. Kate in the draft there, just saving 30 watts, so she's a little bit less. A little gap opens up for Reese. And here's a teammate Davidson, 3.2 watts per kilo. So a little bit off the pace, but looking solid for a top 5 at the moment. Nicely ahead of Pitchford and Martinez Adorno. You can see these 3 going off into the distance. They're closing that gap back to Barre. 20 metres now, it was 35 metres, so it has closed a little bit. We come into one of the timed segments on this course. And they're just there letting Barre hang out in front. He's going to be taking all of that wind resistance. So there's a sharp left-hand corner coming up. Not there just yet. You can see it on the right-hand side. The top right-hand corner, you can see that profile where it kicks up sharply just to the right-hand side of that graph. Gets up to around about 20% gradient. Really does scrub all of your speed off. If you can power out of it, it really does provide a good launch pad for the second part of the race. And now Hilary Reese from New Zealand, having a strong race today, performing better than she did last weekend. Closing that gap, she's bridging across and leaving Kate and Oliver slightly further back at the moment. She makes the junction across to Alina Barre then, just before they hit this steep section. You can see on the right hand side how the topography rises up. You can just see as well the road as we come up to this switchback. Gives you an indication how this, there it is as we come to this hairpin then, and Reese has dropped back. Come round the hairpin, 18% gradient. You can see it, look at that, you can see how steep it is. The numbers are going red, 5-6 watts per kilo. There's Kate. Dropping the hammer a little bit. We saw her right off that start line with those powerful numbers. And she's currently dropping the two New Zealanders. And now she's looking like the rider that's going to catch Alina here. Barre from Wahoo Lacole, the German rider. Still maintaining good numbers though. Which really is still anybody's race from this quartet. 130 metres of climbing done. Still 95 metres left on this course. You can see we're still on 6.5% gradient. Starts to level off now for our leading rider. And that gap has opened back up a bit. One strong effort to see that close. We saw Hilary Reese close that gap just before we came to that steeper section. She's now 50 metres back, with Oliver 30 metres behind. So it has opened up a little bit. That hairpin, as expected, has done some damage. Has stretched it out, but they're all still within sight of each other. And that does take it out of you, that hill. Come up here, hit this left-hander. Get another little climb, 3-4%. It's not that high, but it's draining, especially on this gravel. See that speed down 23, 24 kilometers an hour, 15 miles per hour. So Reese is caught Ulet Kretzinger then. That might not be a bad thing for these two. They might be able to work as a pair. Might be able to just get a little bit of drafting benefit off each other. Won't be much on this gravel, but there is some tarmac areas to come. Behind them, Oliver, Andrew Oliver from New Zealand. Racing at 7:30 in the morning, I think it is. Must be 8:30. The clock's changing in the UK tomorrow, so it's made it difficult challenging this race. Sorry, scheduling this race. So here's Eileen Davidson then. At 350 metres back at the moment. comfortably ahead of Pitchford, who's opened up on that middle drag. A bit of a gap over Martinez or Adorno. Here's Martinez Adorno riding under the American flag. Then Christina Vicka riding from Puerto Rico. Here's Villarreal riding under the Spanish flag. So good to see a number of female riders joining today's event. So it looks like these three now. It's between Barre, Rees and Kate Petzinger. So, you know, Kate's got a solid engine. She's currently leading on the time trial championship. Just over 12 hours left to set a time on that for the females and the males, but Kate is leading the female competition. Look at this, that 40-metre gap, that downhill section. Those two riders have just absolutely demolished that gap, closed it up, and now we've got three riders all back together. How much has that been hurting Barre, being off the front? Will this demotivate her, seeing these two riders catch back up? Just over halfway, 2/3 of the climbing done, still 50% distance, a bit more downhill on this second half. Two on the downhill section now, stretching the gaps out to the riders behind. We did see for a second then Oliver, but because the course drops quickly, these riders are speeding away. It's opening this gap up. See on this open expanse, it's a good job it's virtual. If it was windy or raining, as it so often can be in the north of England where this course is located, this really could be a horrible slog. So we're riding the Dirty Reaver course. It's based on the real Dirty Reaver event, which is every year a real world event. There's a number of distances. The furthest I think is 200 kilometres. So that'd be the equivalent of doing this course 11.5 times. We're not that cruel. Just going to stick to one lap for the ladies. This one is 10% gradient. Don't have to worry about sliding out on these corners, as they do slam the brakes on there. They drop from 60 kilometres down to 35. So they will have to power out of the corners, keep that speed up. See now they're ticking off the distance quite quickly. These steep downhill sections. Flattens out for a little bit. And then there's a couple of S-bends as we drop down to the lakeside. We did just get a glimpse of it. Let's see if we can see it. It's just through the trees there, directly ahead of us. That is Lake Kilda. That's in Northumberland, in the north of England. Thanks for joining, Matthias. Have you following as always. Yeah, look at this, how open it is. It's interesting, there's lots of these pathways out to the side. It'll be interesting if in the future we get other routes, alternative routes, looping through these woods. Seems like there's lots of opportunities for different courses, using the same topography, same terrain. Here that these roads going off to the left, and then if we go round to the right, there's perhaps another little route there. You know, you can cut across, be part of this course backwards. This map already exists. Seems like an opportunity for RGT to add a few extra paths and create a second course, a bit like they did with Paterberg and De Ronde. Those two courses overlap. Right, so we're starting to get towards the business end of this race then. So we've had very little climbing in the last few kilometres. Heading downhill still. So Teleri Rees doing well here. Improving on her performance from last weekend. We get into the switchbacks that bring us down towards the water's edge. Slightly surprised to see Anthea Oliver dropped, but it's a slightly different course as we mentioned, slightly steeper sections, slightly different time of day as well. We had for these riders, so Kate is over in America. For her it's middle of the afternoon. For Anthea and Teleri it's early Sunday morning. For Alina it's just coming up to 9 o'clock in the evening over in Germany. So I know personally I struggle to ride early in the morning. I'm much more of an evening rider. You see Kate then coming to the front. None of these three riders have been shy about putting any work in. No one's sitting in, no one's hiding. There is a little bit of an opportunity at the end for a sprint finish. It's not your traditional lead out style finish. Still pretty undulating. It's slightly uphill to that finish line as well. Let's just leave the trio for a minute. We'll drop back to here's Anthea Oliver. She's 280 metres behind that trio, but sitting comfortably ahead of Eileen Davidson here. 400 metres back from Oliver. And Pitchford, the Australian representative. She's still 270 metres ahead of Martinez Adorno, but she's slightly opened that gap on that steep switchback section. Here's Martinez taking that right-hander back into the small little climb, 200 metres back. And here's Vitska on this steep section. You can see 16%. Look how fit. 5 kilometres an hour. It really is energy sapping this little section here. You think you're over the worst of it, and then it still carries on at 6% gradient. Right, back at the front then. Let's jump back as they come up to one of these little rollers. Come in pretty fast, but that speed scrubs off pretty quickly as you hit the 7% gradient. This one's not too long. 4.4 kilometres to go, and Kate here has opened up a 10-metre gap. Rees is responding, just over 7 watts per kilo there. Kate's eased off slightly, maybe just waiting for these riders to catch back up, not wanting to go on her own too early. Mentioned, you get a little bit of slipstream, a little bit of watt saving. Here we see as Rees now goes back in front, but for a second there she was saving 80 watts by being in second wheel. See that in the top left hand corner, that green number there, saving. She's jumping around a little bit as she moves in and out of the wheel in front, saving 40-50 watts there. That's a handy amount to save when you're going along at 200 watts. Saving 25% of your energy just by sitting in second wheel. So maybe that's why Kate was just sitting up there, but she's still leading on the front of these trio. She's actually taking it to them. Kate, Alina, Larry, all fairly, this is 3.79 to Larry Reese, 3.82 watts per kilo and 4.01, so not much in it on the Leuven course. That's over a 25-minute effort. We've just gone past that. 3.5 kilometres to go. I guess 33 to 34 minutes. We might be just a little bit past that. Yeah, good question, Rich. Why did we choose this course? Firstly, let's talk about the Leuven course that we chose last week for the qualifiers. We felt that course was short enough that we could attract a good sized field at around about 20 to 25 minutes for the fastest riders. It was actually an opportunity for lots of riders to get involved, and it's punchy. A few climbs on that Leuven course, which allows the stronger riders to put those efforts in. It opens up different types of racing. And then 30 Riva to follow up. We've got a single lap for the ladies and 2 laps for the men tomorrow evening at 7:30 UK time. And that's also partly the nature of the course. It's a rolling course. Also some longer, flatter sections. So it does give opportunities for attacks, as we saw earlier on this course from Alina Barre. And she managed to get off the front early, but then the other riders have come back at her. We kept it at 1 lap for the ladies, just because we know that there's fewer ladies participating on RGT, and we didn't want it just to be a long slog for an hour. But with the men, it's a larger field, and we know that it's a good quality field. And adding some distance in, adding that mental toughness into the equation, adds an extra little element into the equation as well. So as we come up here to the penultimate little climb, you can see these ladies. Lina again dropping the hammer a little bit, opening up a little bit of a gap. You see Kate doing a lot of work early on. Just getting slightly gapped here. It's only 12 metres. Still a chance to come back. 2.4 kilometres to go. Got a downhill section now as we go down and over the bridge. We loop around. And that speed, it builds up a bit slower on this gravel. So these riders won't get away from Kate quite as quickly as they would do on a normal road course. So if Kate can keep the power on. See here, she's closing that gap, working hard to close it back up. Bar rate dropped right down there to 0.8 watts per kilo. Now puts the power back on. This is it now, we're inside 2 kilometres. We come over the bridge, we're going to loop around. You see the course on the left hand side of the screen there. Loops under the bridge. And back up to the start finish line. This is where our champion is going to be decided. Kate working hard to get back in contact with these two. Come round the corner. Got it back under 10 metres, but Barre's kicking. Just seeing that gap closing. Up over 5 watts. Reese now over 6 watts. Kate trying to get back in. Agonising. You're right there. You can see these 2 riders in front of you. We come through under the bridge. Inside the final kilometre now, just coming up. And Alina Barre is kicking into Larry Reese, sticking with her. It looks like Kate Kretzinger might have to settle for the bronze. It looks like she's just being distanced here, 50 metres. like she's just being gapped. So she's not giving up. In fact, coming back to 40 meters, she's fighting. We know that Kate is a fighter. Bahrain and Reese here, side by side as we come towards the end of this course. 800 meters to go. We've got one more little uphill section here. Got the red line on the graph at the bottom of the screen there, the profile. 10%, final little sting in the legs. 660 meters to go. It's Bahrain just in the lead at the moment. The speed is down 13 kilometers per hour. It's going to be Bahrain who summits first. He's then going to get that downhill kick first. But Reese right on her wheel. Oh, this is close to call. Alina won the group sprint on the Leuven course, which is a slightly uphill finish as well. He's now in the slipstream. Reese on the front, 400 meters to go. Bahrain slightly easing off there. That's just tactical, quickly having a quick breather before she launches a sprint, but Reese has gone early. 9 watts per kilo, 200 meters to go. Bahrain's trying to respond. Round this left-hander, the finish line is just around this right-hander. They're both at 8 watts per kilo. Oh, this is oh so close, inside the last 100 meters. And Reese manages to kick again, 10 watts per kilo. And it's, oh, Reese. Reese on the line. Oh, so close there. And here is Kate Betzinger then coming round to take the bronze medal. I think she'll be pleased with that, despite getting just gapped in that last couple of kilometres. So we'll bring you the official results in just a moment. How close was that finish? I thought maybe perhaps Bahrain was going to come back using that slipstream on the little tarmac section we have at the end. But you saw how Reese managed to just kick again from 8 watts per kilo back up to 10. I had thought maybe she'd gone a bit early because those corners, we'll see it now as we come through with Anthony Oliver, they do slightly have some auto braking in game. I thought maybe that was a couple of wasted watts by Reese. So you see here we've got the left-hander onto the tarmac. Watch that top left-hand corner, that power goes slightly red. That's the auto braking kicking in. Then we've got the right-hander into this left-hander. 2.5%, 3% slope, 4%. But it's not an easy finish. And this finish line is just outside the right, slightly blind. It's just around this right-hand corner. So that's Anthony Oliver there coming round, take 4th place. And teammate Hilary Reese taking the win. So I think we can just call up now with the official results here. You can see how close it is, look. 0.058 seconds. That was absolutely on the line. She just held on. Here's Eileen Davidson from Team Lou coming round to take 5th place. Nice to see the ladies chatting there in game. You can see the message is just on the right hand side. So 2 from New Zealand Bro in the top 4. Kate Betzinger and Eileen Davison taking 3rd and 5th for Team Lou, one of the regular teams on RGT that have been around from the very beginning. Here's Pitchford riding in the Canyon Esports kit. 325 meters ahead of Martina Adorno. She's managed to keep that position, not pulled away too much. But she's going to be our best Australian today. See here, this fantastic scenery. Back over Lake Kielder. Thanks for tuning in, Andy. He's also a regular on those Team Lou weekend rides, which are 3 PM UK time. Although it has been slightly disrupted because of the clocks changing in the different locations around the world. I think the Americans have changed already. The Australians don't change until next weekend. Us Brits are changing tomorrow. I think the Europeans have stopped changing altogether. So do check RGTDB for the actual times in your location. But that Team Lou Team Lou ride does take place on a magic road around Kielder on the Sunday. Right, so there's our top 5. We mentioned Hilary Rees taking the gold medal ahead of Alina Barre. Just 0.058 seconds in the end. Heartbreak for Barre, who led pretty much the first half of this race. Put in a strong effort. Rees, who let Kretzinger, Oliver and Davison, who chased them down. Davison dropped before that middle kicker. There was a little bit of a spread as they came up the top of that climb. But then Oliver lost contact. And then Villette, Kretzinger and Rees managed to catch Barre. Those three then rode together, kept it together until the last couple of kilometres. We're on that second to last kicker. You just see some of this scenery again. Fantastic looking course. Partly another reason why we chose this course, Rich, as opposed to a magic road, is it just looks fantastic on the live stream. So we're just coming up to that penultimate climb where Kate got slightly gapped, couldn't just quite make it back. Sounds like she went pretty deep, according looking at the group chat there on the right hand side. She just about got back in contact. I think Barre didn't fancy a 3-way sprint. She attacked early, around about 1.5 kilometres to go. Rees responded, and it was almost slow motion part of that sprint. That gravel really slowing them down. But it was Rees who kicked. I do wonder if Barre just eased up a little bit too much. I think she was trying to get that draft effect. But it was a strong finish by Rees. So a little bit further back then, here's Martinez Adorno. Here's Vixka. Villarreal almost just coming down to the lakeside now. 2/3 of the way through this course. So I said 33 to 34 minutes for our winner. They're at 35 minutes 22. It just goes to show last week's course, Leuven, they were just under 25 minutes, so 10 minutes slower, but 2 kilometres extra. That's that gravel effect, and also a little bit the draft effect. There was a slightly bigger group last week. But you do have to be mentally tough on this course. Villarreal gets in a little bit of an effort there. Come back to Vixka, the Puerto Rican, who is in the Masters category there. Don't have Masters category this year, but this is our first year running the event. So we will be looking to expand on it next time round, learn some lessons. It's been a great experience running this championship. At our nationals last week, we've had the ITT individual time trial running throughout the week, the team time trial as well, and then our world championships with our qualifiers. We're really pleased with the number of ladies that have participated. Good sign. We've got the men's event tomorrow, so let's have a little preview of that men's event. We'll just pull it up on rgtdb.com. As I mentioned, 2 laps of this course tomorrow. Some big names in there. Few platinum ranked riders. So we're going to be live tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. UK time. Riley Harvey is going to be bringing you live coverage. Do feel free to drop him a compliment or two. I know he appreciates it. Now this gap between Pitchford and Martinez Adorno, we've been away a little bit, close to 120 metres. Still 2.5 kilometres to go. Now we can see just coming up the hill behind. There's Martinez Adorno. Could she throw a spanner in the works just yet and catch Pitchford? Keeping an eye on these two. So tomorrow in the men's, we've got Eagle Kops, Rasmus Faubel from Denmark, Walter Claes from Belgium, Henrik Med, Swedish rider, done very well recently in the Moon Riders Tour, and Tour de Monde, John Story from New Zealand Bros. He's currently leading our individual time trial championship, former national rower for New Zealand. Those rowers do make strong RGT riders. Fleming back from Denmark, James Melville, the winner of the UK race. Thibaut Belanger from France, Tel Zuckner from America, Rob Miller from America, Chris Bankless, Dutch rider. Could be a few other French riders joining as well. We've got Greg Barnett, Ben Phillips, UK qualified, Richard Akers as well, Tom Gates from the Netherlands. So, Camille Soto, our America's region winner from Puerto Rico, and Mathieu Dujon, former Swift French national champion. So it looks like Pitchford then just going to stay away and slightly abandoning the camera work there for a moment. Do apologise. I've been just reading through the men's events. The men's start list for tomorrow. I wouldn't like to be the bookmakers for that one. That's going to be a strong field. Certainly going to be an electric race. No e-bikes. Maybe I should have said fireworks instead. Seen a number of 2-lap races on Dirty Reaver. So we're going to be looking at just over an hour, around about an hour and 5 minutes perhaps for the men's. So it is slightly mentally draining. You need to be strong, not just in your legs, but in your mind as well. You see Pitchford here. Managed to open that gap to Martinez back up. Inside the final kilometre, this last little bump, well, last little steep bump, I should say, with the red sections. As we saw, it does hit over 4% as you come up to the finish line. You might just notice on the left-hand side there, have been in the race. But luckily today, no males interfering with the race. We did have a little bit of that last weekend, unfortunately. We have been talking to RGT just to find out what we could do about that, and RGT have confirmed they are working on adding an option into the event setup just to allow event creators to specify whether it's a male, female or mixed event. We follow pitch fit here. It's such a really draining. Hats off to Reese and Barre and Kretzinger. Even though Kate was 50 meters down, she was digging deep on this climb. 500 meters from the line, that is not what you want to see. It really does. You know, all our riders are very deserving of their positions in this event. You really do have to work for it all the way. You can't ease up. Even these riders in fighting for 6th and 7th, we saw how that gap closed down. You can just ease off a little bit too much on these climbs. Another rider can see that and take an opportunity to push on. And suddenly your gap can disappear. So Pitchford back onto the tarmac then, through these series of left and right handers. Going to come up to the line. Take 6th place, best placed Australian. It is quite early in Australia, as I mentioned. It was quite difficult finding a specific time slot. It's around about 6:30 a.m. We're coming up to 7:30 a.m. now in Australia. So congratulations. There's Sarah Pitchford there coming across the line. We did have Wendy Wonderwheel signed up from Australia as well, but didn't quite make it onto the start line. As Adamarie Martinez Adorno comes onto the tarmac section. Here we go. Nice little sweeping left and right handers. You see how the speed, feel like you're putting the speed, dropping the hammer as you approach the line, but the speed just drops off as the slope increases. It's a slow motion sprint, 350 watts. You're going 15 miles an hour. There we go, second American across the line. Congratulations. Good ride in. Made Pitchford work the whole way around for that. So here's Ritska. And then just behind her is Villarreal. 2 riders. 2.8 kilometers to go for Villarreal here. Putting in my evening workout in the background. I'm still several kilometers further back, not wanting to interfere at all with anybody. I do love this course though. The scenery anyway, as I mentioned, such a challenging course to race on. As part of the Echelon League in season 1, there was a 3-lap race. About an hour and 40 minutes of racing where I had a little catastrophe. My phone, which I was using to run RGT on at the time, ran out of battery. That was back when it was the 2-app setup, and it meant that within the first kilometre I was at a standstill on the side of the road watching the race disappear up the road. I don't think it probably cost me too much in the end, but it did mean it was 3 long laps riding solo Did manage to pick off a couple of riders though. So just coming up to the final kilometre here for Stina Vicka. She'll be inside the hour mark fairly comfortably. Good to see her competing in both events. So, any ladies or gents? Well, the ladies who have participated in these races, we'd love to hear from you, get your feedback. And any gents as well have participated and have enjoyed any of the coverage from this last weekend or from this weekend also. Please do give us your feedback. As I say, it's the first time for us running this event. Bit of a learning experience for us with the trying to balance the different nationalities, different time zones, different events. We've got the road race. They're all on the gravel today. And then we've had the individual time trial, the team time trial. If you think it's worked, not worked. We'd love to get your feedback. So these two riders are just going to be coming up to the line. Let's see. This last little 10%, it really does drain you when you've already had a slog of a race. So you've got 650 meters to go. So you've got around about 12 hours left to have a go at the individual time trial. That is a challenge road, so you can find that in the events section in the RGT app itself. Currently, John Story of New Zealand is in the lead. Aaron Bleakley from New Zealand Bro as well has just come in 24 seconds behind John Story. I was chatting to Aaron just before the ladies race because I'm pretty sure his partner is Larry Reese. Not sure if they're boyfriend and girlfriend or married, but they certainly know each other. He did say he didn't think he was going to beat John, but I'm sure he'd be pleased with second place. Jury Delanier, Belgian rider, very strong. He's currently in third. Thomas Williams in fourth, also from New Zealand. And Jeff Rooney in fifth, the world record holder for 12 hours. In fifth. So, New Zealand, 4 of the top 5 places in the individual time trial. Impressive. As we have Witska here, just coming up to the line then. I've just had Aaron messaging me, giving me some information on his power output, just confirming that he can sustain that 5 watts per kilo for a 35-minute effort. Looks like a solid effort by him. So well done to Witska there, coming across the line. And 8. If we pick up Villarreal, we'll follow her up to the line as well. It's only right that we follow all of the ladies today. So it looks like into the last 850 metres then. Just be a few minutes for her to come up to the finish line. Yolanda Villarreal riding for Spain. Yeah, appreciate the transparency from Aaron here. She's giving me loads of info because he said he tried to dual record, but you have a little bit of an issue with that. But yeah, always appreciate people being open and transparent with their data. Really hold on to that second position though. 5 hours left. It's John Story, who is an Olympic rower for the 2012 and 2016 Olympics and won a world championship in the double scull in 2017. 34 years old. So yeah, rowers, we know, for myself as well, my rowing background, we do like riding. Great crossover sport. Thanks, Maria. Just Maria Vitska, hopefully I've been pronouncing your name right. So thanks for the experience. Hard, but she's enjoyed it a lot. Thank you for getting involved. We really appreciate it. Hopefully next year it'll be bigger and better. I'm glad that we were able to follow all of our competitors to the finish line, and that we had a real battle at the front for the race and all the way down the field. I know our ladies were giving it their all fighting for those positions. Even if you're not fighting at the front, you are always fighting for your position on the road. With a ray out here, making the most of this downhill section, just easing off. And into the final few bends. Just ticked over the hour mark. That's it, back on the power for this last little climb. 100 meters to go. Thank you, everybody. Yolanda here just comes up to the finish line. I hope you've enjoyed this coverage of the women's VCN championship event. Congrats again to Kate Kretzinger taking the bronze, Alina Barre taking the silver, and to Larry Reese taking the gold in a what would have been a photo finish in the real world. 0.058 seconds ahead of second place there. Absolutely fantastic finish. So thanks a lot, everybody. A little reminder there, please do like and subscribe. Join us tomorrow where Riley Harvey will be bringing you coverage of the men's championship event. Enjoy the rest of your evening or day, wherever you may be. We'll see you all again very soon on V Cycling News.